Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the DubCast podcast. This week is Masters Edition. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Prop Geek Zeke on to give out some of his favorite outright winners, potentially some props, and then a long shot as well. So, Zeke, welcome on, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate the invite.
Well, hey, man, let's dive right in. Obviously, this is one of, if not the best week of the year. And so I'm looking forward to hearing some of your takes.
Yeah. I'm from Georgia, so this is one of my favorite events of the year. My dad's went before, and I'm trying to get him to go this year. I'm looking at tickets, and this is my favorite week of the year, sports fan wise. There's nothing prettier, nothing better. Um, so the first thing I want to talk about is the course breakdown of Augusta. What do you need to be good? What matters? It's a par 72 and it's over 7,500 yards, which is one of the longest courses on tour. It has the hardest par fours on tour because they are just crazy long. 550-yard par fours. There's only one par four that's under 400 yards. Um, and then there's really hard par threes too. Even though there's only one that plays over 180, it's just because the greens at Augusta are some of the fastest and they have crazy slopes. Everyone knows 12, where it can land up on the edge and just trickle right down. That's a great. It's a 130-yard par three. That should be an easy shot for every or every professional. But a lot of times it's just the slopes of the green that can really mess with you. Um, there are scoreable holes, and it's all the par fives. They're the shortest group of par fives on tour. Every single one's reachable within two. All have eagle opportunities. And the last 5 years, the Masters champions have played the par fives a combined 50 under. So if you want to win, you have to dominate the par fives, and you just got to stay afloat on the par fours. That's a big key in my research, was looking at guys that dominate par fives, guys that are long off the tee, like we talked about, it's super long, and it's one of the hardest courses on tour. And it's not because when you think about other hard courses, it's usually if you don't land in the fairway, there's a 6-inch rough and you're done. But it's completely different at Augusta. They had the best combination of long and wide fairways on tour. It's really easy to hit fairways there, and if you don't, it really doesn't matter. The rough's not penal at all. Where it's hard is approach. Every approach shot, not every, but almost every approach shot, you have 215 yards in, and you got to get it to stop at a certain point on the green, or it's coming off the green. Even if you hit the green, they're just extremely fast. I'm sure everyone sees the videos every year where they're doing the stimp test and it's rolling like a 15, and the balls are just flying off the green, and then they all trickle to a really hard spot to save par.
Yeah, for those
Um,
not familiar with the stint meter, it's essentially like a range of pace of greens. And
yeah.
this
So
week,
15 is
Augusta,
crazy.
yeah, it's like putting on marble, essentially.
Yeah, it's
Imagine
insane.
trying to stop a ball on marble or a hardwood floor. So,
Yeah, it's
what I'm hearing from
insane.
you is long off the tee, good ball striker with your irons, set yourself up in decent shape around the greens, and then
Yes,
if you want to win, you got to be able to make some putts.
absolutely. You got to be able to make putts. You got to. A big thing here is course history matters a lot. It's the only major that's played at the same course every year. Um, and you're going to need experience putting on these greens. You can't come in here. No debut guys won it in over 50 years. So I immediately knocked out every single person that's making their first appearance. These greens are unlike anywhere else on tour. Um, you do need a creative short game for when you miss the greens, because you're going to have to get that ball to stop really easily. And a lot of uneven lies in the fairways and slopes. A lot of uneven lies, so it's really difficult. They always say the only thing that's flat at Augusta is the tee boxes. Everywhere else, you're hitting off a slope or something. All the greens are sloped. There's no such thing as a straight putt at Augusta. Um, so that's a lot of the stuff that I looked at, trying to figure out what matters. I looked at data for key champions, the correlated, what's the most correlated between the past champions. And like Dash was saying, strokes gained tee to green. How good are you from the tee box to your ball touches the green? Long iron shots are easily the most important. Augusta has more 150 to 175, 175 to 200, 200 to 225, and 250 plus approach shots in the tour average. So it's long irons. If you can't hit a long iron, you can't win here. Driving distance matters a lot. Driving accuracy doesn't matter at all. And then par 5 scoring, like I talked about. Easiest par 5s on tour, super short, all eagleable. And you got to get in. You got to get up, be able to get up there in 2 and have a chance at eagle. So I'm gonna just go ahead and go right into the betting favorites. Who do I want to bet on? Who's my money on? Obviously, I'm not betting Scotty Scheffler, but he is 100% has the best chance to win. But you're only getting 400 odds. He's the best golfer on the planet. It's really not close. But I can't pay 400 odds. That's insane in a field of this quality to give someone a 4-1 shot to win.
Yeah, for those that don't bet golf very often, I mean, we're trying to target, 10-1 or longer, 7-1 or longer.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty at 4-1, it's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So
yeah,
I'm with you on that. But he is one of the best ball strikers, if not the best ball striker since Tiger. So
yeah, he's insane. I love watching him, and I really want to bet on him, but I might have some props where I'm betting his over birdies or under strokes. Supporting him that way where I don't have to bet on him against 88 people at an awful price. The first one and the shortest odds that I have is I have Hideki Matsuyama at plus 2,500. And the reason for that is he's one of the hottest golfers on the planet right now. In his last 4 starts, he has a win, tied for 6th place, tied for 7th place, and tied for 12th. So he's been borderline top 10 or top 10 in his last 4 starts. He's gaining 1.5 strokes per round versus his baseline in his last 20 rounds. So that's his last 5 starts. And when you think of Hideki, you think great iron player. Like I talked about, you really need good long irons. And there's no one better at around this price range at getting a ball high and getting it to stop where you want it on the green. That is like his specialty. He's won at Augusta before. He won 4 years ago. And then in his other last 3 starts in the last 4 years, he was tied 13th, tied 14th, and tied 16th. In a field of this quality to be top 15 or better 4 years in a row, it shows you how comfortable he is at this place. He can read the greens good in there. We already know they're slopey and they're fast. He can read them. He can get the ball to stop. He's not incredibly long off the tee, but he's longer than your average tour pro, which we talked about. We want distance. And then he's second in shots gained around the green in the last 6 months. So when he does, you're going to miss greens at Augusta. It's impossible. I mean, you miss greens everywhere, but especially here, your ball's going to come off, and it's going to roll into somewhere where you have to get it 15 feet high, and it can only go 6 feet, and it can't roll out at all. Or you're going to roll off the other green. You're going to roll off the green on the backside. And he's second in shots gained around the green in the last 6 months. So I really like Hideki. He's super hot right now, and like I said, course history matters more here than maybe anywhere else on tour. And he has probably the best history, or he definitely has the best history of anyone around his odds. 4 top 15 or betters in the last 4 years is insane.
I love that. Great iron player, creative around the greens, hits the ball far, hits the ball high. That pretty much cracks the code of everything that you mentioned previously that actually matters. So 25-1 on Hideki. I'll be tailing.
Oh, yeah. And then my next one is I'll go in order of odds. So my next one is 40-1. I have Tony Finau. And you're going to kind of see a model that or a mold that I like, and it's guys that are long off the tee, guys that are good with long irons, and guys that have good history here. Tony Finau has been top 10 and top 5 in 2 of his last 5 years. We all know he was in the final round with Tiger. We've all seen a clip probably 1,000 times where he just choked and Tiger won it. But he is the best iron player on tour in terms of strokes gained over 200 yards in the last 12 months. And that is huge because you see almost double the shots on tour on average over 200 yards at Augusta than you do on an average tour course. So when we can get the best iron player at plus 4,000 that has good history, that has good distance off the tee, who has been good in his last couple starts, who's not trending down, because we want someone trending up, of course. He's been trending up. We want someone like that. And getting 41 odds, I really like that.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago when he, in the par 3 contest, when he made the hole-in-one and
Yeah.
was running backwards down the fairway, dislocates his ankle, and still
Yeah.
played great that week. Was
Yeah.
still in the mix with a
I just seen that clip too, like
torn
2 days
ligaments in
ago.
his ankle. So if he can do that on
Insane.
one leg, and he could be in the final group on 2 legs in a different year, I like him here
Yeah,
as well at 40-1.
exactly. And my last one that's not a long shot is again, it fits the mold. Sahith Theegala plus 50 or 50-1, so plus 5,000. Um, I mean, the Sahith, anytime he misses a cut, it's because he loses like 5 strokes off the tee. He might be the worst driver in terms of accuracy of the golf ball. That's actually a good player I've ever seen. He bombs the ball though, but he don't know where it's going. And at Augusta, you don't need to know where it's going. It really, and like he's really bad about fading too. Having like he just leaks them out right, whether he's blocking it out, fading it, slicing it, whatever it is. Um, and right misses at Augusta are typically really good. You think about 13, where if you cut it too far left, your ball's OB, and other holes like that, where when you have a far right shot and it just goes into the pine straw or whatever, you can still play that. You don't lose a lot of strokes to the field if your ball ends up in the pine straw versus the rough. But a left miss is really bad, and he doesn't have left misses. Last year was his debut, and I told you I don't want to bet on anyone in their debut. So it's his second year, and he finished 9th last year in his debut, which is a really good start. He gained strokes on approach, which that's something I really like to see because we know approach here is insanely hard. And if you can gain strokes on the field in your first appearance at Augusta with a good field last year, that's really impressive. He's an above average long iron player. He actually gains the most strokes on the field with his irons over 175 yards. So I'm not saying he's better with a 5 iron than he is with a 9 iron, but when you compare it to the tour average, he's better, or his best club in the bag is his 5 iron, or his 6 iron, whatever he hits over 175 yards. Right? Good around the green player as well. We've talked about with Hideki, where you're going to miss these greens, and can you get a ball to stop or land exactly where you want it to give yourself a par save? He's good around the greens, and he is extremely hot right now. He's gaining almost a stroke versus his average baseline in his last 20 rounds. In his last 5 starts, he's had a 5th, a 6th, a 9th, a 28th, and a 37th. So 3 top 10s in his last 5 starts. Bomber off the tee, great long iron player, great around the green, good putter, and finished top 10 in his debut, and I'm getting 50-1. I love that.
Beautiful. Okay, we got Hideki 25-1, Finau 40-1, and Theegala 50-1. I love all those, and obviously very data driven. Do you see yourself sprinkling a little bit on a prop such as top 10 finish, top 20 finish for any of these guys as well, or what are your thoughts there?
I didn't look at any of the top 10 or top 20s for any of them. Last I checked, which it might be out today, when I did this, they didn't have those out. But I do have a sprinkle on 200-1 odds for BHA. I can never pronounce his name, but it's like Byung-Hung An. I can never pronounce his name. I'm terrible with name pronunciations. But he's plus 20,000. And I absolutely love that. At plus 20,000, it's really good. Like, I'd expect it to be a lot shorter odds than this. I was scrolling through, and I'm like, dude, where's BHA? Because I am a BHA fan. I bet on him a lot. I'm like, where's BHA? I'm looking in like the 12,000, 13,000 range. And I'm scrolling, and I'm like, 20-1. And I go and look on like a couple other books, and he's like plus 1,200 or plus 12,000. Like FanDuel's just hanging a crazy line. And this dude is a bomber off the tee. He smashes his driver. We know we want that, right? He's a great around the green player and a great approach player. And he's got the length that we want with his irons. And, I mean, he's great for plus 20,000 with his irons for perspective. And I think the reason why we're getting long odds on this is because this dude has been awful at Augusta. But he was also a much worse player back then. He's came in a long way since his last few appearances at Augusta. And when we look at strokes gained metrics like per start, you really start to see the experience come out in their fifth or sixth or seventh start. And by their ninth start, that's where they are like, okay, I know this place like the back of my hand. And that's where they really are peaking. And this is his fifth start at Augusta. So we know he's really starting to get a hold of it. He's played probably 15 plus rounds here, tournament rounds. He's probably played over 50 practice rounds and everything. And I really expect his approaches to get better. He's still been killing it off the tee. He's going to be way more comfortable putting on these greens because it's probably the fastest greens he's ever played on. And he was terrible with his putter in his first four starts. So I really like BHA at plus 20,000, which it's a long shot. It's a sprinkle, but that's 100% going on the FanDuel account this week.
Absolutely. $10 to win $2,000. That would be
Yeah.
some nice
Yeah.
ROI right there. I'll be playing
yeah.
it as well.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, awesome, Zeke. I love those breakdowns. Anything else for us? Talk a little bit about kind of how you're going to be playing more of the prop side as the tournament actually gets here.
Yeah.
Underdog, sleeper, prize picks, etc.
So my specialty, if you don't know, if you're watching this for the first time, is I'm like a prize picks and underdog. That's what I built my brand on, is the daily fantasy. Last year I was actually able to hit a 25x on the Masters because I played all the lines were projected for a really low scoring round, and it got windy, got a little rainy, and everyone was struggling. So I took 6 players, played them all over, and I hit a 25x. So what you get, I'm gonna post them on Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter, I'm sure we're gonna attach a free link with this podcast or a discount code. But I'm sitting there in front of my TV, grill on, watching the Masters, and if I see, wow, these greens are playing extremely fast, like no one can get a ball to stop, I'm gonna go play X, Y, and Z over because no one can get a ball to stop, and it's only going to get worse as the day gets hotter and the greens get drier. Or if I see, oh, it's raining this morning and it's supposed to stop, and these greens are going to be really soft for the PM round where they could just get a ball to stop automatically because the greens are wet, I'll play unders. And you can get all that kind of expertise and experience. I've bet on the Masters for 3 years now. And, I mean, like I said, I hit a 25x last year. And I do this for every golf tournament where I can just watch the tournament, see how it's playing versus what was expected in the lines, and be able to take advantage of pricing and efficiencies that way.
I love that. Zeke hit the nail on the head. There will be a free trial attached. So go ahead and click the link in the description to tap into that and win some bets this weekend. But Zeke, thank you very much for taking the time, brother, and looking forward to cashing some of these tickets this weekend.
Thank you for bringing me on, Dash. I appreciate it.